Let's talk about Friday Night SmackDown because I need to get the siren ready. I haven't used this in ages, guys, but I need the dirt sheet siren.
Uh-oh.
Basically sounds like scratch, but basically, according to WrestleVote, SmackDown will be remaining 3 hours. There was a lot of talk about it's going back to 2 at the end of May, then start of June, and it just kept getting pushed back, and pushed back, and apparently now it will stay at 3 hours indefinitely. Now, there's a lot of divide about this online. I was looking in our comment section earlier because about half of the people are saying, no, it's too long. It's a Friday night. Personally, that's how I feel. But there are other people who are saying, I'm really glad it means more wrestling. But another point, and I think this is a great one as well, is that I'd actually worried about more releases if they cut this back to 2 hours, considering they'd have a lot less time. Shad, I'm going to go to you first on this one. What is your immediate reaction to this news?
I mean, it makes sense. I think when you look at TV products and channels, USA Network needs the WWE. The WWE is kind of their bread and butter for viewership, and for them, more WWE television on their product is the better. I feel like they might be kind of upset that they lost NXT on Tuesday nights for that same reason. So to me, I feel like it's something that benefits them. Now, when we talk about the product itself, I'm not going to lie. Watching 3 hours of wrestling on a Friday night can be a little tiresome, but it depends on the booking. And that's the key to anything. You can sell me 3 hours of professional wrestling if those 3 hours of professional wrestling are covered on a base that gives me entertainment from the start all the way to the finish. And that means utilizing the roster that you have at hand. That means giving us compelling matches, giving us compelling storylines. That's the key to it. Because to my knowledge, I feel like they haven't done that. And I say to my knowledge because everything I say is factual. They put high quality on the main event scene stuff. And then everything else kind of just gets thrown like spaghetti on the wall, and you're going to see what sticks. I think you need to really look at your roster and analyze and see who needs to be in this position, what needs to work, because that's how you get compelling stuff. You need to start having feuds that don't have to deal with the titles. You need to start using these individuals that you have just chilling in the back. You have all these titles too. Like, create actual divisions, create mid card divisions that matter for the U.S. title on both ends, for the women's and the men's title, right? Don't give us the rinse and repeat. So to me, I'm fine with it. Like you said, it would be a little worrisome. The sweet spot to me, like I think you said before too, was Raw, that 2.5. But if it's compelling 3 hours of TV, I'm fine with it. They just got to do a better job with that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the other thing as well is it's kind of felt like, to your point, that at times it's almost like the afterthought to Monday Night Raw, and a 3 hour show cannot be treated as an afterthought, or it will feel really filler really fast. And on Friday nights, you're not competing with other TV shows, you're competing with people going out. And
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, that is tough competition. Clark, I want to get your take.
That's exactly, in my eyes, where the problem lies. And you look at this, and it's a fascinating situation, right? Like, you had SmackDown on Fox at 2 hours, and then you had USA Network with Raw at 3. Raw goes to Netflix. The rules are a little bit different on streaming, right? Fox probably wasn't quite interested in re-upping on 2 hours Friday night primetime. So they went to old reliable USA, and USA's like, look, you were giving us 3 for 20 years, guys. If we're going to re-up, SmackDown's cool with us. We can shift over to Friday instead of Monday, and we'll re-up for 3. And I think that's why we're here. But the simplest solution is move this thing to Thursday night. Sorry, TNA. Love it. Love you. I love you. But Thursday night is so much easier to digest 3 hours of wrestling than Friday night is. I find myself watching it on Saturday mornings. Then college football season comes around, and I'm trying to simulcast game day and watch SmackDown at the same time in the mornings in the fall. I'm going to be worried about that. That's an issue because I'm not watching it 8 to 11 p.m. here on the West Coast. Unless I get a feed from the East Coast at 5 o'clock when it's live, I have no desire 8 to 11 p.m. on Friday night to watch pro wrestling. So I don't watch SmackDown live ever. And I'm nearly always on the Saturday show myself. So for me personally, I think the simplest solution is move it to Thursday. I don't mind it being 3 hours. That's what USA wants. That's probably what they bought is 3 hours. And I think that's part of the deal, right? That's what they're paying for. They want that level of
Reportedly, it was a 2-hour deal, which was going to be 3 hours during WrestleMania season every year, and now the adjustments happened according to reports.
Which is my guess would be that based on whatever the dollar amount came out to, that made the most sense. And for programming's sake, they want the extra hour. I get that.
Yeah.
I just don't get it on Friday night. If
I
you go
agree.
to Thursday, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
No, I do agree. The reason why I think they like Fridays, though, is because when they go to pay-per-view towns, they can make it a weekend event. So it's also good for ticket sales.
I was going to say I like the potato skins at TGI Fridays, but that's just me on Fridays.
I mean, that's one thing that plays on at bars too is SmackDown though. Like I do see
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Nice. Yeah.
I've seen it. Yeah, there's a couple locally by us. There's a pizza place. The one I've told you about, actually, Ben.
Yeah.
They play SmackDown on Fridays.
Yeah, why is that some big shock?
That's like the
I've
only.
never been to a bar playing wrestling.
Honestly, the only time I
disgusted by that.
The only
You're
time
a wrestling broadcaster, man.
The only time I really watch it live on Fridays is when we go to the local pizza spot, and they have it playing live, and then I still watch it in the morning too.
Yeah, they show. I've gone to bars where I've seen Collision on Saturday nights on the TV.
There's more than you would expect by me.
I swear to God.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings plays it as well. Dez is right.
Going to a bar and just normal people going to a bar and Collision's playing.
Hold on. Who's going to a bar to really watch TV? Like it's after games are done. It's something to play.
Not to get into like a big thing, Ben, but I've actually genuinely thought about this for WR. There are like local groups that go to bars, meet up to watch SmackDown.
Yeah.
And I thought like I should go and try to network I've thought about it, but I've never pulled the trigger on actually doing that.
Just do it. I need you to vlog the thing. I can't believe bars play wrestling.
Before, though, dude. Remember when
I knew the pizza place did. I knew the pizza place did. Yeah. I never knew bars.
Because they even play the PLEs. They play the PLEs on
makes
Saturday
a little more sense than Collision.
I would literally go to a bar tonight.
They don't play Collision. Actually, they probably do play Collision. I've never been.
That's what Sean's saying. Here's one plays Collision.
I've seen Collision at a bar before. I mean, it's because I think it was after like they have the grace period of like running after like NBA games on Saturday night.
Yeah.
So they'll just keep TBS.
They'll just keep it on TBS.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, sorry, that makes a lot more sense.
And then the other thing is you got to remember, like a lot of sports bars, especially in the States, compared to like your normal pub you're going to go to in the UK, like they've got like tons of TVs. Yeah, so if it's a sports bar,
many of those,
it'll be like half the games are on one side. Then you'll have maybe at least two TVs with Collision or SmackDown or whatever it may be, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
No, well, we've got a few comments I want to quickly read before we go off the air. Darion Washington is saying SmackDown don't have the roster to go 3 hours. I mean, I do think if this is the case, they need to do another draft soon. Just the part says move SmackDown to Wednesday. Do not do that. Do not do that.
Don't do that. Okay, by the way, this is really funny. My buddy Nick Opens like, I'm sorry, I don't have a YouTube account I'm watching, but he's like, they play Raw on Netflix at the local Dave & Buster's by him.
Dave and Buster's also host AEW pay-per-views.
They do.
Okay, well that makes sense if it's a business deal. I May Pete says if he was over there, he'd go for a pint and some Collision.
Who
I might have to do that.
Great.
Drink on
I might have to fly over just for that.
It's actually kind of fun. I like watching wrestling in public.
Fernando says, let TNA keep their Thursday slot unchallenged by WWE. Let them flourish in peace.
No, I agree, Fernando. I was thinking just from the SmackDown perspective, not the TNA perspective there. I would hope that TNA would then adjust to that scheduling change.
Just screw TNA.
I want to make that clear. I'm not looking at like, Go head to head with TNA.
Let them compete with Friday nights instead.
We got the greatest TNA champion of all time now in Trick Williams. They need to have him on Thursdays. All right.